So I've been sort of wrestling with this question lately regarding sort of parenting and just life in general. I think it can be applied across the board, and that is the idea of novelty versus comfort, or should I say, like creating memorable experiences versus the safety of knowing what's going to happen or the safety of the normalcy of life, right? So the steady sort of, drumbeat of life. And I'll dive into it a bit more here as I sort of talk about it. But essentially, here's sort of the context behind it is that I'm 42 years old. I am trying to basically whenever you get older, as you get older, at least in my experience, time seems to fly by very rapidly. For instance, this morning we have a tank that we fill up with water in the morning. This is just a microcosm of what I'm talking about. But we fill up this tank. I have to fill it up like once a day. It's like one of those gravity water filtration systems, the Berkey or whatever, that has the big filters and it cleans the water. And I fill up like once a day, and I usually either do it right before I go to bed or do it when I first wake up in the morning. And so I was doing that this morning, and usually while I do that, I'm making a coffee too. So I'll go and like put it under the sink, turn on the water faucet, grind some coffee beans, and once it fills up, I'll go and dump it one time. I have to do it two times, and then I'll go back, fill up the container, this separate container we have to fill it up again, and then I can like actually, you know, tamper the shot of espresso, put the shot of espresso in, and I hit brew, and it starts brewing the espresso. Uh, Someone's going to dog me for saying espresso. All two of you who are watching going to dog me for saying espresso. Um, Usually I'll do that, and it all kind of just runs in the back of my mind. This morning, I don't know what I was doing, but for some reason, I started doing the coffee after I had filled up the water tank. And the thing is, filling up the water tank probably takes a good solid like minute and a half to 2 minutes. I do not remember doing it at all. Like I know I did it because I saw that the top was off and the water was full. It was up to the very top. And I was like, what just happened? Like I'm just not doing I should have been doing my coffee while I was filling it up to kind of double task there, sort of, but I didn't. My space was my head was in la la land, and I got the thing filled up, which is fine, but I was like, I do not. Once I reflected, I was like, I do not remember doing this at all in the past, minute and a half, 2 minutes. So anyway, that's just sort of a microcosm of what's going on in our lives. Last year, 2025, you know, now that it's behind me, try to reflect on the things that I remember, and it's just kind of just it happened really fast, and it's a blur. I'm sure other people are having this experience too. And I'm not one to like numb myself to things. Like, yeah, I do, sometimes I'll find myself scrolling or whatever, like most people, but I try to make it a intentional part of my life to not do that stuff, right? I'm not like, yeah, I feel guilty. I try not to do it. So I feel like I have a healthier habit than most people on that end. It's not great. It's not perfect, but I'm not totally shut off from the world, but shut off from feeds. But it is sort of a conscious effort. However, I I started reflecting this year. My son's going to turn 13 in July or in June, in the middle of June. And I was thinking about something to do with him that's memorable. What can we do to sort of solidify this new part of this new transition into being, a young man, a teenager, instead of just floating into it? Like, what can we do to make it sort of this coming of age sort of experience? So I've been thinking about that a lot. And, just the fact that he's almost 13, I'm like, man, and we moved out here in the country about 8 years ago. I just think to myself, like, what is going on here? Like, the time has flown by so fast. Like, I work from home, and I spent tons of time with my kid. Like I have the privilege of being able to spend like hours with my kids every day, like 1 to 2 hours in the morning. I come into my office and do a couple hours of work from like 9 until about lunch. I go over there for lunch, spend about an hour or two over there for lunch. I have lunch with them, hang out with them, get some house chores done, come back, maybe work for a couple more hours, depending on how busy it is. Some days it's not that busy, so I'll just spend the rest of the afternoon over there with them or do chores out in the yard or whatever. And then in the evening, I'm home from like, I just walk over there and I'm home from 5 o'clock until they go to bed at 8 or 9 o'clock. So, like, I spend at least, at the bare minimum, 4 hours with my kids every day, um, waking hours, right? And that's a lot more than some people get to do, which I know I'm very privileged for that. So I get to see them grow up in real time, which is really cool. It isn't like I get to see them every other weekend or only see them for an hour a day before bed. Like it's great. But at the same time, it still happens. So it still just happens really fast. So I'm like, so anyway, I was reading this article, and it came. I read this article. I don't know where it was, but essentially it was talking about how to create more memories, or how to feel like life is not passing you by. And one of the tactics was, there might have been more than one tactic, but the one that stuck out to me was like creating novel experiences. So yeah, you can still do stuff, your day-to-day stuff, but how can you do something maybe once a week that stands out in the mind of yourself and your kids? It's like, oh, that was a memorable moment. It wasn't just another Tuesday. That was the day that dad did X, Y, and Z. So yeah, so I've been sort of battling with that. So that's sort of the context, and sort of what's happening there, right? So I got to questioning myself, like, all right, how much, what is the value? I see the value in both, creating memorable novel experiences, or novel, not even experiences, but just novel moments, right? So, oh, that was like last night, for instance, we were playing cards, or we're playing this game called Moose Match Mayhem, and it's a very easy game. You just kind of slap your cards on the table, and it's a very much like one of those quick slap the cards game, get a match, and you win sort of thing, like modernized Go Fish or whatever. Um, and there are a couple times I'd do something silly like yell really loud or whatever, and it made my kids laugh. And I think we don't do card games every night. We do it maybe once every week or 2 weeks, once a month, depending on the season that we're in. And so that was kind of a novel night. That was funny. And just little moments like that, just trying to create more like that, right? So what is and then there's also like points in time that you can do this sort of thing throughout the year. Remember in February last year, like actually finding things in your year. And I think I heard this from, oh, I can't remember the guy's name. He's the guy that made that. He makes the huge calendar. His wife makes is like a big, anyway. She's like a big business lady in the business world, inventor, entrepreneur type. Anyway, he talks about how you create 6 different experiences throughout the year. So every other month, essentially, go and do something adventurous. So you can say like, hey, in February we went on a skiing trip, or in February we went to this museum that we wanted to go to for the past 3 years. We finally did it. This is when we did it. And actually like demarcate these, actually put them in a calendar, and mark them in time so that your brain can remember. Because there's some years where me and my wife will go on vacation, and not on vacation, but we'll go on a trip, like a weekend getaway, but it's always kind of last minute. Like, hey, it's like, we'll think about it on Mondays. Like, we should really get out of town. I'm really feeling the itch. All right, cool. Let's figure out a place to go, within a few hours, and get away. And we'll do that. But then I won't remember. I personally, she might remember. She might do a better job than I won't remember when we did that. That could have been, we could have went to that town 4 years ago, 2 years ago. Could have been the summer, could have been the winter. There are certain things that do be like, all right, I remember wearing something. It was cold there because X, Y, and Z. But I don't remember much beyond that. I don't remember when it happened, what year it was. Like, I try to remember little moments from it, and I don't know if that's important to remember. But even that can feel like a blur. But so I'm trying something this year where I'd actually like schedule more of these adventures out to sort of build the anticipation up and solidify a little bit more in my mind. So get back to what I'm sort of digesting with all this is, you know, having those novel experiences, what is my sort of framing behind this? So novelty as a parent and this sort of comfort as a parent, and creating an atmosphere of comfort. Because I think in my situation in particular, I have an excessive amount of comfort time with my kids. Maybe, I don't know, or maybe just comfort time in my life. I don't know. But I also feel like other people have the struggle too. Who might not be around their kids as much as I am. But what is the balance there? Like, because you want kids to feel safety and structure, but at the same time, you want them to have memories. You want them to have memorable childhood, and at the same time, I want to have memories too. And me personally, this is selfish. I want to slow down time a little bit more, because it's all whenever you do the same thing over and over again, it becomes like every day is kind of the same. And there's joy in that. Like I enjoy doing what I do. I enjoy uh, sort of having a steady schedule, and you know making sure my diet's on track, and making sure my time is managed correctly, and just those sort of things are good, and you can find joy in it. But where is the balance between the sort of overly sort of uh, monotonous? It sounds so lame whenever I say it like that, right? Monotonous life. It's not. It's still crazy. When you have four kids, like life is still wild, but it becomes sort of sameness. A Monday is no different from a Friday, is no different from February, is no different from a November. Like that sort of sameness, like other than like all of a sudden you wake up one day, every January, and you're like, whoa, my kids are a year older now, or whoa, he's like finally he's 13. Where did all the time go? Like, and maybe this struggle is just a natural part of being a father, right? So anyway, so that's what I'm sort of struggling with. So what I'm sort of learning on my own here is how can I build these sort of moments, right? Like I mentioned earlier, moments in my calendar where I'm like, all right, here in February, let's finally do that biking trail that's just right up the road from our house. We haven't done it. My kids are smaller. They're getting bigger now. Like my 12-year-old, he could probably handle it. 10-year-old, maybe. I don't know if she can handle it yet or not. But me and my son, we could probably do it. It might take a while. But it's like a 13-mile, dirt bike trail. It's not that crowded. We'll just go out there and do it. That sounds like a really cool thing, and maybe we can make a thing of it, ever so often. And also just other like little mini trips, and then also in June or July, right after his birthday, do like a bigger trip for him to make it more like, hey, you're a young man now. Let's do this. So the questions I have for myself and for others out there is like, perhaps what are you doing to balance this sort of stuff out? What is your viewpoint on it, right? Because I think, like I said, I think there is obviously we all want novel experiences. We all want to have memories. And that's the thing with that article. If I can back up a little bit, is that novelty is what sort of slows down time, creates presence, creates sort of like, oh, this is happening right now. It puts you more in the now than where else is. Because I'm sort of in my house notorious for living in the future or living in the past. Mainly, it's in the future. I'm always like, and not an anxiety thing. It's just like I'm always sort of daydreaming, and thinking about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and not even strategically, just daydreaming. It's just like, oh, what if I did this and what if I did this? It's just that creative mind. My wife's more the worrier. I worry sometimes, but it's about different things. Even then, worry and fear is just future, like thinking about things in the future. Or I try not to. I'm not much of a person that thinks about the past too much. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe I just need to reflect more, um, reflect better, because I reflect some, and then I reflect, and all right, that's cool, moving on. I tend to always kind of be kind of a moving on type of person. Like I don't really hold grudges. I don't um, dwell on things too long. Somebody says something or whatever, I don't think about it. I'm just whatever. Might be a little naive, which this has actually been something I've learned over the years. I wasn't always this way. It's something I just sort of picked up on in like my 20s, and just kind of, it's a good thing, and it's also like there's parts of it where it's kind of taken over mentally like a robot, and kind of like, all right, that's done. Let's shift. Let's move on. So anyway, that's sort of my big question. Novel experiences versus sort of the comfort of life, of being, raising kids, and, you know, safety and comfort and time spent, because I think there's value in both. So, what are you putting value on right now versus, where you think you should be putting more value on? Maybe this is more of a challenge for people out there, a challenge for myself. Where should I put more of my value in? Where should you emphasize more in your life right now? Maybe you are the person who tries to have novel experiences all the time, and maybe in the novelty of things. Your kids don't either feel safe or they're always expecting something from you. Uh, I don't know. This is all hypothetical. I have no idea. Maybe they're always expecting something for you. Maybe you're always expecting something from yourself and there's a lot of pressure. Or is it the opposite? Are you too comfortable? Are you too like, wake up, do this, go to work, come home, sit down, blah, 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 blah. And just like it becomes this comfort of this crisis of comfort, right? Where you're not getting any new experiences, where you are sort of becoming apathetic, or not even apathetic, but becoming numb to life around you, and you feel like it's passing you by. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you need a wake up call and realize that life is passing you by. I know we're all on our own little journeys. So, and there's no judgment from me. We're all doing our own things, and everybody has multiple things that they're dealing with and experiences and etc. But something to wrestle with, something to think about. I'll report back. But for me, my action steps now are to really just sort of solidify the year on these, maybe these little, I don't even call them trips, but little mini experiences 6 times a year. And also just being more intentional during the week, not every day, of sort of slowing down time and creating these moments for myself, really just to slow things down. That's all I got. Just kind of a little, end cap here if you made it this far. This is actually the first of video of this sort of series I'm looking to lay into, which is the questions of fatherhood, of parenting, of being a stay-at-home entrepreneur. I wouldn't even call myself an entrepreneur. Stay-at-home parent slash work for yourself, sole proprietor. That's what I was looking for. More of you stay at home, sole proprietor. You're doing this stuff on your own. You might have multiple kids. My kids homeschool. I know I'm sort of in a unique situation, but I know there are a lot of people out there who are probably doing this, male and female, husband, wife, whatever, whoever you are, dog, cat, meow, who have these sort of bigger questions about how to raise kids and be more present. And really, it's about sort of my big thing right now, sort of just how can we push against the current of culture and reality as we see it around us, and not in an anarchist sort of anti-cultural way, but just in a like, all right, if all the fish are swimming this way, I don't know if this is the best way to do it. How can we question those things in regards to how we live our lives as humans, how I father my children, how I teach them, and how we just raise the next generation and become better people ourselves. So that's sort of my thing. I'm not even going to post this. I have I don't have that many subscribers on Substack, YouTube, or wherever I decide to post this. It's like 120 or something like that. And I usually email them if it has to do with like my other things that I talk about, which is more like marketing and some other things that I'm maybe sort of wrestling with. This I'm going to start from fresh. So it's going to go from zero. I'm going to try to go all organic with it. And again, it's more for, just like the other one, it's more for me just to kind of get rid of my own thoughts. And if it resonates with somebody, great. I'll put it on a new list and email those folks. But for now, I'm starting at zero and going to see how this goes. So I'm going to record this, try to keep it as raw and authentic as possible, bro. And, maybe post little tidbits of it throughout the week so more people can follow along. And I might even try to do it twice a week, 1 or 2 times a week, because it is something that's sort of been on my heart lately. And I don't know, I feel like other people are probably in the same boat. So peace. Oh yeah, don't hesitate to shoot me an email or write to me on Substack or wherever you're seeing this. I don't even know where I'm going to post it. Substack just seems to be the way things are kind of going right now. So, which is kind of like it goes against what I'm trying to do, like go against the anti-culture, but it seems to be the best thing. I'm going to play around with it, but not too much because I don't feel like spending uh, all my time trying to grow this thing. I don't have anything to sell or like I have have nothing other than questions and maybe connecting with some new people who are in the same boat. That's all I got. All right, bye.